And speaking of this presentation of things, we have the storytelling tour with Dougie Mackay, Mackie.
Yes, Dougie Mackay. Yeah, he's coming.
Mackay, there we go, coming up. Which is amazing. I'm super looking forward to hearing more about it. I'm curious about your thoughts on storytelling and expressing ourselves, our needs, our place in the world. Yeah, the expression of these things through storytelling in particular, this relationship with marketing as well.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, if anyone's on the West Coast in Washington State or British Columbia, Dougie Mackay, storyteller, is coming next Monday. He arrives. He'll be here for a month doing workshops all over. And his website is, I forget, I believe it's gosh, what is it? Storyconnection.org/BC tour, British Columbia tour. So check that out. And there's a lot to say about storytelling and marketing. If you go to my YouTube, you'll see a playlist with a lot of my thoughts on this. I recommend highly the work of Lisa Bloom, storycoach.com. Uh, she's fantastic. But I'm so big on point of view marketing. And point of view marketing is just you telling the truth about what you see from where you stand. That's my take on it. And the challenge with it, the risk we run with point of view is it becomes academic and abstract and kind of ungrounded. It becomes theoretical. And it's a lot of charts and images, and people look at it and it makes a sense at a certain level, but it's hard to translate that into our lived lives. And so one is, if you are going to be working on your point of view and sharing it, make sure you find stories that can convey the content. I used to do workshops. This is true around niche too. And I would have people get in groups and they would share the old niching statement of, how blank kind of people struggle with blank kind of problem. I help them get blank kind of result. And that alone, those three steps, that's a huge achievement. Because for most people, they say, oh, I do this combination of this modality, this modality, this modality, they list all their modalities, or they name some obscure modality no one's ever heard of, or worse, they name one that everybody knows about, but we have no idea why they did. I teach yoga. And so to even get to the point of saying, there's a particular group of people I have on a particular island A, and I help them get to island B, huge. So people would share that. And people say, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. But then we would do this next step. And I'd say, okay, great. Now you're going to give an example. So there's a 5-step formulation. How blank kind of people start with a blank kind of problem, help them get blank kind of result. For example, blank. And the way that I do that is blank. But that step 4 around, for example, means a story. And I would hear this around the room where people would say, when we got to the story, they said, now I get what you do. Now I get it. Because they would say, for example, this client came in and they were struggling with this. And then I asked them this, they answered this, I noticed this. We ran a couple tests, we found this, and we tried this. Through the story, suddenly the point of view gets some skin on it and it actually makes sense. And the confused mind says no. If people are confused, they're going to say no, and nothing brings clarity like a story. It's if you have a clear point of view plus stories that illustrate how that works in the real world, people will get it. That doesn't mean they'll buy, but it doesn't mean they'll get it. They'll understand if it's a fit. They'll understand if they agree with it or not. So stories, on almost every level of that 5 fundamentals pyramid, they play some role. In ethics, storytelling is one of the most ethical approaches to marketing because a story doesn't impose on people. A story doesn't tell you what to think. A story just says, it's kind of like this. Here's something that happened. Whereas, propaganda is there to seduce you and convince you and to um, change your mind about something. And a story just I'm not saying one can't make a case for a point of view at all, but I'm saying that's in the world of marketing and in the world of one day I'll write an essay about the differences between culture work and coaching because it's in in culture work, there's just so much storytelling where people are left to find their own meanings. The story sort of works on people, and there's less of that explicit teaching, though there's that too. But it's at least housed in a story, so you have some frame of reference for the whole thing. But I find story a very ethical approach, rather than trying to seduce and propagandize people and pressure people into seeing it a certain way. Or as one of my colleagues said, when he was teaching people how to do profitable webinars, he's like, here's the part in the webinar where you install the 3 beliefs you want them to have. And I just thought, okay, there's no consent there. So it's for that, for niching, for just clarifying what you do, telling a story about how you work with the client. Helps for point of view, it is huge. For business model, it can be very helpful. It's one thing to say, well, here's my workshop or my retreat, and here's the bare bones. That's good, but you can also do it in story form. You can say, you can do sort of in second person. You can say, look, when you arrive, here's what's going to happen, and you can walk them through the experience. So it's not just bullet points, but you're going to arrive at the venue. You'll be greeted in this way. You'll join a circle with a bunch of people you don't know. We'll do an intro, all those types of things. So it can help clarify what the offer is by putting it in story form. And then with hub marketing, well, at that level, it's the story they're telling about you. Their word of mouth is just all storytelling. Oh my God, I went to this barber and he was amazing. I went to this sandwich shop and they had the best sandwich. I went to this workshop, it was incredible. It's people telling the stories of your work. And so then really the heart of all of word of mouth marketing is this question of, well, what's the story you want people to tell? Because then you actually have to give them that story to tell. But that goes back to the niching conversation, etc. So there's so much more to say about storytelling and marketing. I've got a number of videos on it, but that's what comes to me at the moment.